Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar today. We're really excited to be with you, and we're really excited for this announcement, basically. My name is Emily Bradley, and I'm part of Medit's education and training team. And with us, we have Junie Che. Anyone who's been working with the Medit or involved in Medit in any way in the past knows Junie. Junie, thanks for joining us today. Really appreciate it.
Hi, Emily. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to kind of go over this new technology that we released today. So yeah, thanks again for having me.
Yeah, we're super excited. So for this webinar today, we're going to cover basically general knowledge about the Medit i700 wireless. Yes, you heard me correctly, the new i700 wireless scanner. So what Junie's going to go through is basically kind of accessories, how to hook up the power source, just the details of working with the i700 wireless. And I think, I believe, Junie, you're going to also offer a quick demo at the end of the webinar. So everyone can kind of see how it works and speed and accuracy and so forth. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass the time off to you. I'll go ahead and turn my camera off and let you get started.
All right. So thanks again for having me. Today we'll be going over just a general session over the Medit i700 wireless. Okay, so this is just going over some of the specifications of the i700 wireless. On the left, you see the i700, and on the right, you see the i700 wireless. So I'm really just going to go over just the differences between the two. The i700 wireless is, you can get up to 70 frames per second, but that really comes down to the computer. I've seen it even surpass 75, even get close to 80, depending on the PC specs. For the imaging technology, it's still 3D in-motion video technology. And for the LED source, it's going to be LED. And then for the anti-fogging technology, you can see here it says adaptive anti-fogging. So I think when people see this, they tend to get a little bit confused and they kind of wonder how this technology works. But what ends up happening is when you are scanning in a patient's mouth and it detects heat, this is when the fans on the bottom of the scanner kick in and it helps cool down the internal aspect of the scanner, resulting in the anti-fogging. For the accuracy, for a full arch scan, you're going to get 10.9 microns plus or minus 0.98. For the dimensions, you have 313 millimeters by 44 by 47.4. So if you look at this comparison, clearly the i700 wireless is a little bit longer than the i700. But we really need to take into consideration that for any wireless technology, you just need a little bit more space because of the battery. But when you are holding a wireless scanner, it doesn't feel much larger in your hand. It's very well balanced, maneuverable, and even if we talk about the weight, the i700 is 245 grams, but the i700 wireless is 328. But if you really hold the two scanners, let's say one i700 in one hand and the wireless in the other, the wireless feels lighter because there's no tension from the cable. This is very, you'll feel the difference right away when especially when you're scanning in a patient's mouth. Because there is no wire tension, it really does feel lighter in your hand, and the scanning experience is great. Now for the tips, this is also a change for the i700 as well. But starting today, all the tips that are released for the i700 and the i700 wireless, they can get autoclaved up to 150 times. This is an improvement from the previous version of our tips. The i700 wireless, it still has the reversible tip, so you can flip it 180 degrees. It still has the remote control mode, so if you don't want to touch the keyboard or the mouse, you can use the remote control mode to almost alter the scan data on the screen. And for the UVC disinfection, this is also still available for the i700 wireless. I do want to kind of touch up on this as well because a lot of people, they have the idea that the UVC light is actually like shining into the patient's mouth during a live scan. That is not how this technology works. How this technology works is when you are scanning, the UVC light is not activated. But as soon as you place the scanner down and the scanner goes into standby mode, this is when the UVC light is activated and it's shining onto the light that's passing through the scanner as it's in standby mode. Now for the last part, for connectivity, we're using millimeter wave next generation communication technology. That is a handful of words to say. So really simply put, we're using 60 gigahertz frequency for a stable connection, and we'll go over that technology in a few slides later on. And Emily, if you have any questions along the way, please feel free to stop me. If there's anything confusing, please let me know and I can address that as well.
Will do. I'll jump in if I see anything that's missed, but I got to say up front, you're a pretty thorough instructor, so I think I got it, but I will jump in if I need to.
Okay. So next, let's go over the actual packaging that comes with the i700 wireless. When you open up the box, you'll have your main package on the left, and then you'll also have your accessory package. The main package will contain, starting from the top left, you'll have your practice model. This is for new users who want to almost like evaluate their scan technique. So you can start as a beginner or intermediate or expert level, and you can scan and the software will give you a rating of how you're scanning. This is very helpful for new users who are just getting into the digital dentistry industry. You also have your USB flash drive. This contains the Medit link installer. I know people like to plug this into the computer and install the application directly, but I still recommend going to meditlink.com, creating your account if you don't already have one, and through our website, you're able to download the latest version of our software. I just say this because sometimes if a scanner is sitting in inventory or stock for let's say 2 to 3 months, and then there was a hotfix that was released yesterday or last week, the software will prompt you to update if there is one, but I just think it's a much cleaner install if you're able to have the latest version directly from the website. And to the right of this USB flash drive, you have your wrist strap. This connects to the base of the wand, and you can put the strap around your wrist, and it'll essentially just prevent the scanner from dropping or hitting the floor. Now on the bottom left, you have your 4 reusable tips. Again, these can be autoclaved up to 150 times. To the right, we have 3 batteries, rechargeable batteries. This will come with every single scanner, and I will go over kind of the specs of the battery later on. And then you have your battery charger, and to the right, we have our wireless hub. And if we go up, we have our handle, which comes with the scanner, and this can be attached to the bottom of the wireless scanner, and customers pretty much have the option to have a pistol grip when they are scanning. And lastly, you have your user guide. With the accessory package, you're going to have 2 power cords. These power cords will be used for both the wireless hub and the battery charger. You have your calibration tool. If we go below, you have your desktop cradle where you can place the wireless scanner, and also a wall mount holder as well. And then next we have 2 medical adapters. These will connect to, again, both the wireless hub and the battery charger. And for the cables, you're going to have 2 types of main cables. One will be a type C to A, and then you'll have also your power delivery cable, which will be a type C to C connection. And then lastly, you'll have your extension cable battery, which really, it's almost like a battery with a wire, and it's going to give power to the wireless scanner if you, let's say, if you forget to recharge your batteries. And I'll kind of go over that cable in detail. So these are some of the additional accessories that you can purchase if needed. So first, you have your auto calibration tool. This really, what it does is you can just plug the scanner into this device, and it allows you to calibrate the scanner without having to manually turn the dial on your standard calibration tool. Underneath, you have your handle fit cradle. So if a customer really likes the handle, they can purchase this custom handle fit cradle so that the scanner will fit very nicely and snug in this component. We also have our monitor mount. We are actually adding this accessory as a complimentary gift for every scanner purchase. I think for at least the first round of units that you have received, this accessory should be on the top of the main package. It won't actually be inside one of the boxes. So, I'll kind of go over how to use this monitor mount and why it could potentially be very beneficial for certain types of situations. And then lastly, you have your power delivery cable, which will be 3 meters long. So along with the i700 wireless launch, we're also excited to be releasing smaller tips as well. So this was, people were asking for this for quite some time now, but we decided, after hearing a lot of feedback from our loyal users, there really is a benefit to having a smaller tip. So especially for pediatric scans or pediatric cases, or whether you're not able to get into certain areas for patients, now you're going to have this option as well. And along with that, we're also releasing single-use tips, so disposable tips. So if you do find that you want to use disposable tips for your practice, you have this option as well. So let's go into setting up the wireless scanner. And if you have been with us for some time, you're going to understand that even with the i700, you had 2 ways of connecting the scanner. You had the option to have the power, let's say the power cord and the adapter that plugs into the i700. And then after, you would have a type A to C cable that connects directly from the scanner hub to the computer. The reason for this, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but this bottom part here with the power cord, that's necessary because essentially the computer is not outputting enough power to solely turn on the scanner. These are a lot of older laptops have this issue, but newer computers, they're able to output enough power. I believe it's 5 volt. They're able to output enough power, and that's going to power on the scanner without having those additional accessories. So this is no different with the i700 wireless. Instead of the power delivery cable going from the PC to directly the scanner, what we're doing is you can plug it directly to the wireless hub, and that is what will make the connection between the scanner and the computer. Okay, so when you're looking at the wireless hub, you're going to plug it into the computer, and as soon as you open up Medit Scan for Clinics, it will automatically try to pair with the hub. And you'll see that when it's pairing, the blue light on the wireless hub will blink. When the scanner and the wireless hub pair, when that's complete, you'll see that there'll be a solid light. One thing I do want to mention is this is a point-to-point connection, and what I mean by that is one wireless hub is designated to a wireless scanner. So there's really no way to mix and match different hubs with the scanner. When we do develop and also manufacture these scanners, we're making sure that the hub that comes with the scanner, it is designated for that scanner. So please keep that in mind, because I think a lot of people, they wonder, oh, I'll just buy like 4 wireless hubs, place them in different operatory rooms, and I can just walk around with my scanner. The technology does not work like that. So if customers do bring that up, I just want to make sure that you're giving them the correct information. So also on the scanner and also with the wireless hub, you're going to have the same kind of LED lighting. So again, when the pairing is complete, you'll see a solid light on both the wireless hub and the scanner. When it's complete, you'll see a solid light. So let's go over the wireless technology. So the i700 wireless is using millimeter wave next generation communication technology. Simply put, we're using 60 gigahertz frequency to create a solid connection. What you need to understand with this technology is it within a short amount of, let's just say a short distance, it has a very strong and aggressive connection. So there's really nothing that can break that. But with the 60 gigahertz frequency, it cannot penetrate through walls. Or let's say if I had my wireless hub here, I had my scanner here, and let's say there's like almost like just let's say I built an imaginary wall. What would end up happening is when the scanner is turned on, that frequency is going to ricochet off the wall. It won't actually penetrate through. And that's also the case for any other type of obstruction. So what we really encourage is when you are scanning, it needs a clear line of sight. And as long as there's a clear line of sight, you're going to have a very strong connection between the wireless hub and the scanner. The last point here, you can see the actual operational distance is up to 16 feet. So you have plenty of space to operate the scanner. One thing I do want to mention is when you are setting up the wireless hub, as you can see on this screen, please place it near the computer and you want to have it pointed towards the direction of the user. So most likely, if you're sitting at the 12 o'clock position, the cart will be set up to either your left or your right. Just please make sure at least the direction of the cart is pointed towards the user of the scanner, and that will create a very stable connection. So just to go over some of the icons here, when you do open the scanning software, on the bottom left, you see almost like a green Wi-Fi logo. This just means that the scanner has connected to the wireless hub without any issues. If you do see a red logo, that means that their connection is not stable and you either have to reestablish the wireless hub connection or check the scanner as well. So on the top, we have the sleep icon. And what this means is if there's no movement while the scanner is in the cradle for 5 minutes, the scanner will automatically enter into sleep mode. If you do want to start the scanning process again, all you really need to do is pick up the scanner and it will reestablish that connection. We created this option just for better efficient use of the battery. Below you have pairing the hub. So this icon is letting you know that the pairing is in progress, but it has not paired yet. And then underneath, we have connected hub only. So let's say you scan a patient and you forget to power off the scanner. If you place it into the desktop cradle, if the scanner has not been used for more than 15 minutes, the scanner is going to power off by itself automatically. The only way to power the scanner back on is to physically press the power button on the bottom of the scanner, and the scanner will reconnect within 10 to 12 seconds. Now this is going to kind of go over the batteries. So again, every scanner comes with 3 batteries, and a fully charged time is going to be anywhere between 2.5 hours and 3 hours. Each battery can scan, live scan up to 1 hour. In standby mode, they'll last for 8 hours. For the lifetime, it's going to be 400 cycles. What I mean by that is if let's say you use a battery from 100% all the way down to 0, you can charge from 0 to 100 up to 400 times. So that's 400 cycles. One thing I do want to mention is this is just with most batteries in general. If let's say you use a battery and you use it down to 60%, then you charge it back to 100. And then again, you charge it, let's say you use it down to 30%, then you charge it back to 100. That is not going to get you the best longevity for the battery life. So what you really want to do to get the most out of batteries in general is you want to drain the battery from 100 all the way down to 0 and then fully charge it. That will really increase the longevity of these batteries, not just for our scanner, but just batteries in general. So I did want to mention that. And the scanner does come with a wired battery. If we go to the next slide, I will kind of go over the wired battery option and kind of explain the technology behind it. So for the battery status, on the left, we'll kind of go over the LED lights physically on the i700 wireless. So on the bottom of the scanner, you're going to have 3 LED lights. 3 lights is indicating you have 80 to 100% level battery. 2 lights means 50 to 79%. 1 light is 20 to 49%. 1 blinking light is 1 to 19%. And then if the LED lights are turned off, that means you have 0%. I think people, they're wondering, okay, so let's say while I'm scanning, the battery dies. Am I going to lose that scan data? The answer is no. If the battery does happen to die while you are live scanning, it's going to save all that existing information. All you'll need to do is simply take out the battery and replace it with a new one, and you can start the scanning process exactly where you left off. Now on the right, we have our battery charger. It's very similar with the lights. If the lights are off, it means it's not charging. If it's charging, you'll have the blue blinking LED lights. If it's fully charged, you'll have a solid light. And if there's a connection error between the charger and the battery itself, you'll see a red light. So going back to the extension cable battery, this is an additional cable that will come with the scanner. I think people have a misconception of this cable. They'll just automatically think that, oh, it's like the i700. It's a PD cable where I can plug this into the wireless and plug it into my computer, and it's direct signal between the scanner and the PC. That is not how this works. All this is doing is this extension cable battery is simply just giving the scanner juice. It's giving it power. But the connection is still happening between the transmitter and the receiver on the wireless hub. So if customers are kind of asking questions about this, I just want to make sure that this is very clear and that the extension cable battery is only giving the scanner power. It is not a direct line for signal. And here we have the handle that will allow users to have that pistol grip option when they are scanning. I think a lot of people requested this even when we launched the i500 in 2018. You know, a good amount of customers asked if we could have a handle. We really had to have, you know, a lot of discussions and kind of brainstorm to see if it was a reasonable accessory to include with our scanner. But now that we do have this wireless technology, we found that, or we realized that it is an appropriate time to include this. So, you know, a lot of people will use pencil grip when they are scanning, but now they have this as an alternative option if needed. And again, this is going to be the custom handle fit cradle that you can purchase additionally if needed. I also want to say, I don't know if I have the cradle with me now. Let me see. Okay. So normally, Emily, can you see my camera right now?
Yeah, we can see what you're showing us.
So just real quick, normally this is going to be the cradle, and this is how the scanner will fit. But if you don't purchase the handle fit cradle, all you'll really do is just flip it 180 degrees and place the scanner this way, and you can imagine that the handle will be facing outward.
Perfect. That's good to know. It'll fit in the other direction. They can still use the cradle that's actually allocated or comes with the scanner itself. So that's good.
Okay. Let me know if once you're able to see my screen.
Yep, we can see your Medit Scan for Clinic screen, and as anyone knows who's been using the Medit, it looks the same. There's nothing tricky going on here. So what I did want to mention before you get started, I know Judy's going to be doing a scan demo for us. I just want you to know that sometimes when we're running a webinar, it can cause a little bit of a lag in between when he's scanning. You might see his picture. Sometimes the screen is a little bit slow, or it can be a little bit choppy just because of the technology. We're a long distance apart from each other right now. So keep that in mind as you watch. You know, generally you're going to see a really smooth build of the data. So If it's a little bit choppy, it's just due to the webinar running at the same time. So.
Yep. And just to get actual idea of the scanning, please look at the top right corner of the screen. You'll see how many seconds I'm scanning, how many frames I captured total, and then an average frames per second. So real quick, I'm just going to scan my upper and kind of just go over what I scanned, okay? So I'll start scanning now.
You guys can see that Junie's done this a time or two. He's pretty good at this, at scanning himself here. You can see over on the right hand side as well, it's 73, 74 frames per second. And he's even going to get that palette. Nicely done.
Thank you. So I really want to just discuss this one part. I'm sure many of you are aware, but I really do want to mention this as a reminder. With our software algorithm, you'll see that when we are scanning, you will have missing parts, especially for interproximal areas. You're going to see little holes or micro holes. Here you can see a few. And if I also move over, sorry, I don't have a mouse, so I'm using the trackpad. But also on the left, you'll see that in these interproximals, there's missing data. What I want to really express is that this is a very intentional part from our company. What I always tell customers is the scanner can only pick up what it can see. So other software out there, when you are scanning live, the algorithm is really filling in these holes, these gaps automatically. So when you are done scanning, it looks like a very nice piece of scan data on your screen and you're like, okay, I'm good, I'm gonna move on. That's because that algorithm is being used live as you're scanning. The way I see it is algorithms and AI is very powerful. You do need it, but at the same time, this is really a developer's understanding or the way they see how to fix, filling in this missing information. That is really powerful for, scanning technology, but you have to think about critical areas such as the prepped margin line or the context of the adjacent teeth. Do you want AI to fill in these holes? Let's just say if this were context of an adjacent unit, do I want the AI to fill in this information or do I want the camera to pick up this information? We found that having the scanner pick up this data is going to give you more accurate information. Now, for these interproximals, I would honestly let this go because I understand that this is not going to affect the bite in a negative way, or it's not going to affect how the restoration fits in a negative way. But if you think of this, let's just say for an example, if this were my margin line, it's a completely different story. So this is why we created some tools such as the reliability map, so that you're able to visually see this information and say, okay, you know what? I do need more information here. Let me just capture the critical areas and I'll use the algorithm at the end of the scanning process to fill in this information. So just real quick, you'll see that I'm going to scan here.
We can see a little bit of that lag there, but you can, when you watch his picture and refer to the screen, but you can see how that red starts to disappear and the holes fill in as you go over it.
Exactly. So I just really want to emphasize, we are always saying that we're an open, transparent company, and I think we resemble that as well through our software. And I wish we could have a little bit more time to kind of go over some more of these tools and functions, but again, highly encourage you to kind of go through the scanning process with the wireless scanner, and you will have new functions such as, if you look here, we have the new Smart Shade Guide. Even this is using AI. So the software is going to learn through your selections. If you select a tooth shade and you're saying, let's say the suggestion is A3.5, the software is suggesting that, but you're like, no, this is actually A4. Then through your selections and your suggestions, our AI is going to improve over time. So again, we are a software-based company, and we really believe in enhancing our software for our users to give them the best experience. So please continue to use the software, and if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us anytime.
Junie, thank you so much. That's super exciting. There's a lot on the horizon with Medit, and I think the important thing to remember is Medit is constantly listening to their end users, their customers, and they want to deliver exactly what you need. So we're really, really grateful for our partners out there and those of you who are part of the Medit family. Again, we're super excited to go ahead and launch this i700 wireless. We feel like this is a game changer. We think that you're going to love it. And if you do have any questions after viewing this video, please respond to the email in which you received the link. It will go directly to the education team, and they will be able to answer your questions for you. They'll get back to you with questions or with answers shortly. So again, we want to thank everyone for joining. Junie, any other final words, or are we good to wrap this up?
No, I think we're good. Thanks again for having me. And yeah, it was a pleasure to do this webinar with you today. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you in the future. Thanks, Junie. Have a great day.
Thanks. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.